Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is the Horror BookTube Tag. This tag was originally created by Hey Little Thrifter. The original tag video and a link to her channel will be in the description down below. No one has tagged me to do this tag, but as I am a horror author and I love horror in general, I thought I'd do it anyway. Okay, there are 13 questions in this tag, so let's start with number 1. How and when did you get into horror? I've been into horror for as long as I can remember. Always had a fascination with the spooky and scary things of the world. And when I was a young lad, me and my friends would gather together at one of our friend's house and watch horror films pretty much all day. So there you go. Question 2. What was the first horror book that you read? The first book that had any spooky or horror elements was The Ghost of Thomas Kemp by Penelope Lively. I read that when I was a young kid. It's always stuck with me as being really the first horror story I ever read. I don't have a copy of the book, and I couldn't really tell you the plot off the top of my head anyway. I only know that I enjoyed it. Question 3. What horror related goodness can we expect from your channel? Well, along with any horror novels I do read, on Fridays I do my Frightful Friday horror theme videos, and currently I'm going through my Horror on Netflix UK review series. And there'll probably be more horror themed videos as well, especially by the time October comes around, in time for Halloween. Question 4. Do you have any favourite themes or subgenres within horror? Not really. I know what I don't like. And that's really an over-reliance on gore. Gore has its place, but there really needs to be substance behind it for it to be any good in my eyes. Question 5. Name a underrated horror novel or author. Bit of self-promotion here. I choose myself as an underrated horror author. I have written so far 7 horror novels for adults and for YA, and I have a collection of short horror stories as well, and they're all available on Kindle or places like Google Play and iTunes, and they are free to pick up. If you do, and if you do enjoy them, please write a review on Goodreads. It all helps. But apart from me, another horror author that I do think is underrated is Darren Shan. He's written the Cirque du Freak vampire series. This is an omnibus of the first 3 books. He's also written a series of zombie story, and he also has a series of demon stories. The first one of his demon themed stories, Lord Loss, has one of the most horrific and scary openings of a children's book I've ever read. If you can get through that, then you'll be in good stead for the rest of the things that he writes. He is very good. Question 6. Name an overrated horror novel or author. I may get some flack for this, but it's only my opinion. Other opinions are out there, and whatever your opinion is, that's perfectly fine. But an overrated horror novel I found, for me personally, is The Stand by Stephen King. I've tried to read this book a number of times. I've even got it on Audible, try and help me through it, but I have yet to get all the way through this book. It is very dense, and I think all the characters are unlikable. I can't stand any of them, and I don't really like this book. I will probably try again to try and get through it. I will definitely get through it at least once and make a definitive decision, but at the moment I find this as the most overrated horror novel in my opinion. Question 7. Recommend 3 of your favourite horror novels. With what I said in the previous answer, one of my favourite horror novels is It by Stephen King. I find this story a hell of a lot better than The Stand. I've read it numerous times and enjoyed it every time. The next book is The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. Very good story this is. It's short as well, so you won't be on it long, but it is very good. And Dracula by Bram Stoker. Question 8. Recommend a book for someone who is new to the horror genre. It would depend on the person's age and their reading taste, really. To depend what I would recommend. If they are a child, I would recommend something from like Goosebumps. If they're slightly older, nearing teenager, probably something of Darren Shan's. I don't really know about adult, depending on their reading taste. Really, you could go for something like Hellbound Heart or Carrie, or if they like reading really big books, It. But I can't really think of anything really. It would just depend on their reading tastes. Question 9. Are there any book to film adaptations that you particularly loved or hated? One that I particularly loved is Silence of the Lambs, a novel by Thomas Harris, the film which stars Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster. I think the adaptation is very good. It sticks very close to the source material. The slight differences are very, very slight, and the film is very, very enjoyable. So if you have read the book but not seen the film, that's worth doing. And also the other way around, if you've seen the film but not read the book, I would recommend reading the book as well. Question 10. How do you discover new or new to you horror books? Usually by checking out Amazon, or if I see them in the charity shops when I visit the charity shops. Yeah, if there's something that looks interesting in the horror wise, I will usually pick it up. Question 11. what was the last horror book that you bought. The last book I bought was Unmasked by R. St. Clair. R. St. Clair is a fellow booktuber and horror tuber, and her channel is Regina's Haunted Library, and the link to her channel will be in the description down below. Question 12. What horror book is top of your wish list? I don't have one. I don't have a book on top of my wish list at the moment. Whatever I find that takes my fancy. Final question, question 13, is to tag some people. Now, I don't know if these people have been tagged before, but I'm going to tag them anyway. And I tag Nightmare Maven, Shades of Orange, and Jess Reads Books. And anyone else, if you want to do the Horror BookTube tag, I tag you too. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Remember to share this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.